Okay, good morning, everyone. This is Michael Venezia, head trader and coach at TradeView Markets, a TradeGATEHub, sponsored by TradeView Markets, if you will. Uh, you know what? The website, if we will, TradeView Markets, been a tremendous amount of work for it. So I'll sign in just the same way I do this, just the same way I do. But I'll log in. TradeGATEHub's right here. Listen, poke around the site. If TradeGATEHub right here gives you all this, just that one tab, if you will, a whole community, our videos, our web tabs, top news. You want to just log into any news that's going across the day. We want to make this a one-stop situation. Seriously, that's bottom line. Crypto 4 minutes ago, global headlines we update 4 minutes ago, stocks all the time, market movers we have. I have maybe too many windows open at this point, which is rare, by the way. Forex, commodities, poke around at the site. You know what I mean? It's a phenomenal site. So if this one tab of TradeGATEHub gives you all that, certainly go to Forex or stocks, anything. It's a fun site. It's a family office, for lack of a better term, as international as it is. There's very low turnover. I've been here probably longer than my previous firm. So we're proud of what we're doing here. It's a lot of good stuff, and it's a team effort. And you know what? Not to sound cliche, we're going stronger than ever. Okay. So Friday was a shortened holiday, never short a dull market. The market closed up a little. I was afraid of, not afraid. I've seen it before. The Thanksgivings, everybody's looking at the TV and they're like, "Oh, market's up on Friday," and then boom, Monday morning they take the profits away. I get it, but you know what? It's not indices driven. This type of market. I'll go to my screen in a second. What is driven is stock picking, and that's going to seem to be evident for the next, at least for the foreseeable future for what I see. Let me go to my notes last night, and then I'll get into the routine, if you will. But let me point out something else. All the data that I put out starting last evening, Sunday, was in the stocks indices room. I posted, as I said, last evening. And when I do, I usually say good evening with Gordon Gecko as opposed to the good morning by the beach, if you don't know what it is. So go over this data, maybe even when I'm speaking, but what I really wanted to emphasize is no one really knows what's going to happen. There are people that I understand that are paid to predict to what's happened. I understand that. People were paid to predict the weather 20 years ago. It was antiquated. Everybody always made a cliche of the weatherman was all wrong. Now everything's so sophisticated that if he's a degree off, it's like he was 20 degrees off some time ago. So, and it's the same with the dynamics of the market. But there are not enough patterns. Although we trade because history, we want to try to tend to history repeat itself. Nobody knows what's going to happen. Anybody that tells you that it is, they're not being, they're not credible. I don't know if that's, you call that out or whatever, but nobody knows. I'm here that's why I'll get back to it. This great story to one of my mentors, Neil. I say that every once in a while. We used to sit 4 people at a desk. He took up, the whole, he took up 3 spots. I took up 1. He had that much pull. So he's staring at the screen and the market's freaking flying. Something happened. It was a rate cut, a double rate cut, maybe a raise, something like that. He's just staring at the screen. And anybody that really knows a little bit about this room, myself, and if you don't, you should go right here to the red YouTube channel, I Digress, and look at all the videos that we have to do, and you'll get a little profile of what we do and what we have to offer, including all these videos here. By the way, I digress again. Is that redundant? We had Helene on last week, punch her up. We have David Hunter on coming that we were just told, I believe, I'm not sure what day it is, it just came across the feed. And you know what? He's not short of an opinion nor controversy, but you know what? It's okay, because that's why he's a bid and ask. At least he's having he has facts and he has credible data to which he believes in. And I understand that. Granted, it's a little bit outside the normal parameters, and that's why he's on. Or else, it'd just be another analyst. But we're looking forward to having him here. But going back to the YouTube video, and I'm on it right now, by the way. I can watch myself again. So it's double redundancy. I can actually watch myself as I'm doing myself. He's having, but I won't fool. Okay. So there's no background now for what we've seen. So that's why it's harder to predict or go upon uh, where we're going to go. From the people of my peers who are older, and I mean older, wiser, I mean, who've seen more than me, if you were to just put all the data in front of them, suppose they were in a, I don't know, they were hibernating, they didn't look at the market for a decade, and you gave them all the relative data. I'm talking about sharp guys like the coach, economists, and traders. They would think that the market would be precipitously low. But fortunately, as traders, we judge price action over sentiment, and we don't go by opinion. We go by what the market tells us. So there's no really background for what we've seen now. There's not been a Ukrainian war before. We haven't seen actually. I believe that crude prices, as we speak, are like 2% below where they started the year. But you look at the stocks; it's a complete different story. I got a couple of questions here. NEM good out at 46. It was a good out. You know what, coach? You know what? I'm going to get the coaches. Everybody, what they should be doing is I'm talking, at least go through the data. And I'm going to go through the data right now because I'm such a person I don't want to be a hypocrite and go on routine. It's so important that I got to stick to the plan. I'm sticking to the plan. All right. So Tesla going to hold an important meeting December 1st. That should go in the book. Events for the week in Amazon. Bros Fireside Chat. I sold Bros this morning. This was last night, by the way, to reiterate. This was my list going into today. I wasn't short. Always Helene's charts. And I sent them last night so everybody can kind of digest them, as it looks like Gerard did. So XLE, XME, the XBI still actually might be even below. Actually, XBI is right on the line now. GLD, coach commented on gold. I'm going to get back to in a second. I am holding a couple of others, but it did sell NEM very well. And coaches, this dollar on the chart on the dollar. I apologize. I'm trying to fit a lot of things in. So NASDAQ new highs, consensus. This is, I said to Gerard, well, you know what? When the bulls, it just, we're more bulled up than ever. And you know what? Judging by the VIX sands today, there's a tremendous amount of complacency. For the first time in some time, I was actually buying protection, the VIX, last week, nibbling. I think I got a bunch of it now, but I think my average price on the VXX is about 16.5. I'm okay with it because we do have stocks acting well, as again, taking some profits and rotating along the way. It's just, sticking and moving. Always we post on a Monday the data ahead. I write it down. That's your plan. If you own a restaurant and your chef goes and gets fresh, goes to the markets and gets fresh fish, whoever he does, and does his own shopping, that's the menu for the week. I mean, that's how you're going to derive how you get in customers or your profits. This is the plan. It's things to keep an eye on. Major situations. Tuesday, Intuit, CrowdStrike, Workday, NTAP, earnings. Oh my God, Snowflake, Splunk. A lot of calls are going in the SPLK. Not in it. Earnings out Thursday. Dollar General, the big daddies, Ulta, Kroger, still in it. Might be. Yes, I am. And here's the chart on Kroger. And why shouldn't I be? Because it's acting well. I like the sector. It's kind of waffling down back and forth obviously Newmont, Kroger looks better, but between, the moving averages going in the range, I'm using the moving averages for Kroger as support, by the way, and I'm very happy that it's all four of them, being the 8-day, the 21-day, the 50-day, and the 200-day with volume. It's had a time to back and fill. I'm long it. Am I going to take it into earnings? Yeah, I probably will, and I'm not going to say how much now because I don't know. And how I derive how much Kroger I'm going to take into earnings, plain and simple. It's how much of a cushion of that, I have. It's not that, that I think it's acting better. It's really derived by the cushion. I don't want to give back a lot. I hate giving back profits. I hate it. Next. Okay. PDD reported today. Oh, that was for anybody that follows this feed. It's one of the most shorted stocks out there. It's one of the most, also one of the most technically strong. Man, who's going up again? One of the most, come on. It's one of the most technically sound stocks, PDD. I'm short Manchester United. I'm going to tell you why. Now that I'm whispering under my breath, there's PDD. I don't know, not even the young, the medium or the old Mike V would even think about shorting it. I played around with it a little bit today, right here. I shorted it 76. I shorted more. You know what? I made lunch money, whatever it is, PDD. And let's look at the Manchester. This is why I shorted Manchester. I'm in it. I'll show you where I'm short this thing. Settings, show position info. What am I? I'm short 6,400 from 2175. I was up a decent amount of money at 2058. I shorted it well. And why did I short it? Okay. I shorted it because of this. This is in the middle of the World Cup. Who's going to step on the World Cup's toes with that type of news over the weekend and take over Manchester United and when the World Cup's going on? It's like the president's daughter and that announcing their wedding when he's running the day gets. So you know what? It may very well happen. It held to my 3-day rule going from 12 to 23. My price is what, 21.75. I don't see much more premium in it. I still think it's it was one of these thin volume Friday plays that everybody hopped into. If it goes above my price, I'm out of it. You know what I mean? But I did my due diligence. I think my price to cover on, as I said, I'm up in it. I could have covered it nicely in the morning, like right down here and taking like 12, 14,000. But like I said, the RSI is even way overbought. So I kind of caught it well. If the market was strong, I would probably cover it. But it's weak, and I'm just hoping maybe when if the market bounces today, I think people are going to say there are some good things on sale, like Microsoft down 4, Apple by 2.5 instead of Manchester United. How much premiums in this? I'm not quite sure. I did my research. I'm certainly not going to put it up. I would cover it at 22.5. Like I said, I had good money in it. I had good money in it. From 2044 to 2168. Yeah, well, you know what as coach would say, I got it monitored. If they're going to take over Manchester United, I would certainly think it's going to be over a weekend. So today's being Monday, I'm not shaking in it. I probably should have taken off because it's hard money. But certainly if it goes down from here, I'm not in it to make another half. I think it's going to go below 20. So it's a trade. It's not a position. Like I said, I have my stops and I have my eye on it. All right. Next, as coach would say, okay. PDD at earnings. Let me make them sharing. I want to go through the routine, as we say. I might even cover it now just to take some money off the tape. This freaking thing. It's showing a lot of relative strength. I'll tell you that. Now I'm down. All right, whatever. Not whatever. I got my eye on it. All right. So corporate events. Here they are. Here's your list. I mean, trade into these things. Trade around them. FTCH will hold its first ever day on November 30th. That was one of the former high flyers. I've actually been trading that well as you can for $7 stock as you can. I kind of like that. Listen, I didn't like it anymore because I think the market's in a neutral position where the majority of the squeeze stocks have been squeezed out. So if that's going to go up, it's going to go on. It's going to go up because of fundamentals. And quite honestly, I like another. If I'm going value hunting, it's not going to be Fitch here. It's going to be a better of breeds, and that will yet to be determined. But that's not one of them. All right, this is what I quoted before on the top of the show. The price of crude is now down 1% of the past year, and energy stocks are up 68%. If that's not a situation of relative strength, I don't know what will. The demanding thing would be if crude bounced and the crude stocks went down. You think, if you're bullish on crude, you certainly load up. Lewis has got me talking. You certainly add to some crude stocks here. Again, Jerome Powell, Big Daddy's talking Wednesday, 1:30. Now, I say this a lot, is that during trading, and maybe let's take a breath, is that whenever you hear athletes talk about, or anybody that's doing anything great, it seems like they say things around me were going in slow motion when they were moving at their normal pace. And a lot of that has to do with trading as well. You know what I mean? If I'm over trading, I look up and I go, wow, I can't believe it's 4:00 already. But you know what I mean? I wanted to say this, and these are from the sharp guys. This is the new generation, but Mark Minaveri, he's a little bit older, maybe even older than myself. It's all good, is that good trading is boring. Bad trading is exciting, and it makes the hair on the back of your neck stand up. You can be a bored rich trader. what makes me good is what makes me bad. I'm trying to correct it every day. And I always say a lot into it, always in TradeGATEHub. The last thing you're going to have is a problem finding anything to do, anything worthwhile to do. It's up to you if it fits into your style. Is that I started as a day trader, and quite honestly, I don't know if it's like saying I'm an ambulance chaser as a lawyer, but I was literally one of the most active and best to a degree in the country going back in the late 80s, early 2000s, but it's the truth. So, and what makes me good is what makes me bad is I still have that. My entries are good, and I always have an exit plan when I enter. But I'm still trying to stretch those parameters and winners and be more disciplined. Hence, when your position is working and you don't have to monitor it, that's boredom. You know what I mean? The best positions usually work when you're up in them and you don't have to monitor them. That's beautiful when that happens. Okay. Again, Bank of America top 10 trade for 2023. Oh my God, I have a dialect now. All right, Newmont, coach was saying one of my trades for 2023. And I believe that. It looks like it may come to fruition. Obviously, it's early. I'm building in the goal. I'm building it to WPM. Is the position, and why am I? Because first of all, I'm certainly not hypocritical and no analyst, but there have been huge options going off on WPM. Leaps in the weeklies, the least of which are weeklies, and what's a good sign for the longer term. Going out till January, I believe April next year, March next year, you should go to the feed and look at it. I like that one. Also, there are calls going on it still in GDXJ. I like the chart in GDXJ as well. New coach told me to sell the Newmont, and he was right about that because it was getting heavy in the moment. And I had it was a good trade. Listen, 46 to 44 and 18,000 shares is nothing big, but it's coming back to the 50-day. It's coming back to the 21-day. The 50-day is my basically intermediate line in the sand. And the 21-day is, I would say, short term, basically a swing trade, if you will. So Newmont's coming back to there. I did piece out of the Nugget correctly. I probably think the same way as Nugget as I do Newmont. Looks the same. WPM looks better above the moving average. Is another one I like that I'm buying is what? GSM. Great calls going off, but I'm not really having in that. And the one that showed the most life at the beginning was this one, GFI, the good freaking Indian we used to call it. Look at the move on GFI, 7 to 13. You know what I mean? I don't care if they make widgets as coaches I jokes around. That thing's hot. And you know what? It's got the move in it. It did it here, right here. Boom, boom. Now let's, you know what? Like the WPM, here's the gap. Listen, sweet spot for GFI is around this $10 strike price in the gap. It's going to jerk around that level, give or take. You know what I mean? So GFI is one that, regardless of what group it's in, or regardless of what my pick is, that's something that should be on your radar. Regardless, seriously, that's a stock with good price action, volume, and range. So let's look. GFI should be on the screen. Next, let's continue the routine. Short-term tactical sentiment when neutral. Lots of names are appearing. Well, listen, lots of what I wanted to say again. Everything is not really behind us. Even the seasonality creeping into the beginning of December is starting to, abate with that push. You know what I mean? I know we might get the January effect or coming in there. It's just, again, the indices lately and going forward, in my opinion, and I'm not alone, doesn't make it right, are going to be irrelevant. It's going to be stock picking. Go to my screen again. There are a lot of stocks that are acting well. It's just, you have to be aware, if you're buying the NASDAQ, how much weight Apple, Microsoft, and Google have in it. You shouldn't be expecting, if you're buying the semis are moving all at once today. Pardon me, the payment providers are moving it all today. The retailers are up across the board to a degree, or at least not giving back as much as they should after the run. So at some point, the problem that I have here, and I'm listening to the wise guys, is this on the market? And probably coach thinks the same way if I'm not. And why? If coach doesn't think the same way, I'm going to go back and press the YouTube button and watch his video that he did at 9:30 Eastern, and I'll watch it. I'm really getting happy with that because I heat up the coffee and I sit back and I relax. So this is the chart in the S&P. Does the Fed really want the market to listen? I'll talk Fed talk if you want. I still have enough knowledge to stand on a firm opinion, as Manu brings high, is that, I don't think they really wanted to walk it up that high. The Fed's going to try to taper down the markets just the same way they were complaining that they did nothing moving down too fast. It is going to be the same thing. So going into the 13th or the next, when do I have it? Yeah, going into when Powell speaks, which is Wednesday the 1st. It's going to be choppy probably into the CPI. Those are the notes that I have, and I'm sticking to them. So keep going to the routine. Fear greed model, a little healthy. I got a question. Hold on a second. Fear greed model is a little healthy. Does it mean we can't rotate? Maybe the oil's coming down for once. We'll take a breather and keep that fear greed model coming down as the other stocks go up properly. You know what I mean? It doesn't mean that the fear greed model is extended, that it's got to be a tremendous all red across the screen, or it doesn't have to be that way. It's really coming down to stock picking. And this is not a pat on the back thing. I've been saying it for a long time. I very rarely have positions in the Qs, or I do have protection in the VIX, but that's to hedge my positions. I don't really trade the Qs or the IWMs or the SPYs. Even in extreme conditions, I don't like trading. I actually like trading stocks on extreme conditions more. But in trading, indices are not for me. It's just you're just betting on the market. And people can argue you're just betting on stocks, but if the indices come down 100 handles and Apple goes down 10 cents, I'm interested in it. It's an extreme example, but you know what I mean. I like to gauge something off that. Anyway, all of Helene's charts, the dollar's really really what we're watching here. Consensus bulls. We left off here. Okay, equity hedging. They took off some hedges. CDS, this could pop up at any minute. Sector sentiment. So the key here is to line up. So the SPYs are down, whatever the market's down today, are down as much. Line up the sentiment, relative strength. Gerard's very good at this. And just, it is not all, it's not, especially with the VIX going up a little bit, it's not really, start lightly. Always remember that the positions that you start, usually the winners are winners right away. I'm telling you, that's a fundamental. I don't know if it's the way it is. It's amazing the way it is. All right. Here's the SPY, Santa rally. We're still neutral right here, even with the volume shelf. So I started posting again this morning. No surprise about PDD. Our macro opinions. Coach. Yeah, I can't listen. Thanks, Coach, about the NEM. Let's look at what the coach did. He was right on that freaking thing. Saved me some good money, but I'm going to enter it again. It's not over. It's not over in the mining sector. Apple 132, Coach, SMH. I like that short. I'm not going to lie. And why wouldn't you like it short? This is Coach's chart. I wish I could, what do they call it? Then transpose it, whatever. This is my chart. You know what I mean? Certainly the rounded situation, the moving averages are curling a little bit. Let's look at the best of breeds. Lamb Research under the 200-day, well below how the SMHs are acting. MU, same thing, well below the SMH. So the SMH has actually been holding way better than the leaders, if you will. AMAT. Lamb Research just came down a lot more than AMAT. I'm not really sure why. MU, the GFS is hanging in there. Global Foundries, that's a position for TradeGATE, which should be. But you know what I mean? What are you going to do? Am I going to flinch? No. You know what I mean? If it breaks, yet to be determined. What other good semis are there? Nevada, of course. Nevada well below. So listen, Coach is probably right. I don't know if the index is necessarily my short, because as I just finished saying, I'm not really an index guy. I would rather gauge something, but certainly AMAT. ON Semiconductor, I can't do that. That'd be sacrilegious. Teradyne, Qualcomm, how about that one? Qualcomm still can't go on, but I'm always afraid of Qualcomm. Afraid, that's a hard word. ADI, let's look at the boomer semis. ADI, horse. That's why the SMHs are acting well, because the boomer semis, Coach, we went through this. All above the 200 days. But if I'm going to do a semi, it's going to be what? MU. It's great. I mean, it's below every moving average with volume. I know it, maybe the juice might have been off but I mean, it still looks like a good safe short to me. I hate to say safe, but you know what I mean. It's going to be MU. What else is going to be? AMD. That's not going to be. It's probably going to be AMD. Taiwan 7. We can't go against Warren. Just put 5 billion into Taiwan 7. So it's really probably going to be EMU. But I agree on Coach on the macro level, the SMH. You just got to watch ADI and Texan because those were the leaders. Good point, Coach. Okay. Am I going overboard? Don't worry about it. All right, macro, and micro was Forex Hunter. Good AM Coach. Little retail news. Just go through this. Bank of America gives their opinion. Upgrades and downgrades always give them. Kramer gives a China opinion. Shopify, we have that. Calls were flying off on Gerard. Tell me. Calls were flying on Friday. G Money. Okay, Lewis is there. I know he's there. CPRX. Look at our CPRX. Now, I told you I was still in it and I didn't flinch. And I shouldn't flinch. I've learned not to flinch. You know why I learned not to flinch on CPRX? Because I'm that guy usually trying to short it first day up and it usually goes against me. CPRX was still in it, still not overbought. LVS calls with, that's another thing I wanted to say. Let me make this point, please. And that's my point going about further about any of my positions. And that happened to do with GL, why I'm taking a position in GLD and AEM calls that were going off for a while. Where was my bear with me. I gotta do it here. Here you go. This was, I put this 18 hour, well, this was last night. These were the calls who go November 25th was a Friday. Look, LVS, certainly some interest for next week. LVS win calls flying all in succession. And they would look at the news that came out today. So sometimes you got to go with the smart money. It's really with your timing. Sometimes they don't always matriculate at once. But you know what I mean? They use options to nibble because not everybody wants to go buy win at $77 a share. You know, it's getting your, getting your feet wet to a degree and seeing how the price action goes. Kramer. Okay. You all know what happened, by the way. CPRX. So listen, it's Monday. Let's go to my screen. As Manu breaks higher. Here's my screen. Here's my universe today. All right. So we got the SPYs, Tesla acting well, Shopify had news, PayPal, obviously PDD hanging in there. FUTU pulled back a little. I shorted FUTU. I'll show it to you. And I said, this is a bad idea. And I shorted it. I shorted a bunch of it, 54.28 to 54.63. So big deal. It's down right now. But you know what? I just didn't want to do it. So I covered. I was in the right church, wrong pew. But I was at least, like I said, we're always going to be in something of, give the action. Manu still in it. Lucid, Apps, E-Dog, ANF. I'm short that. Mike, the whole position. Biopharm, I am holding a position. I'm holding position ANF though. Short ANF nicely. In biopharma, yeah, they're the low float losers. The only the ones I'm holding, Lewis, are CPRX, and I'm holding the IBB. And the IBB got hurt today because of Biogen. But I am in the IBB. I'm not going to, I'm going to have, yeah, I hold position the biopharma sector. I heard you. You said, yeah, I'm holding the IBB. That's the new XBI. The XBI has more of these, low floaters, not low floaters, smaller to mid cap bios, and they're speculative. So instead of buying the XBI, I went with the best of breeds. And oh yeah, I'm holding Regan. I'm holding REGN. I'm holding CPRX. I'm holding IBB. And I'll even show you. I'll even look here. And that's the only, I have a little XBI, IBB, CPRX, and Regan. Those are the ones I'm holding. Thanks for the question, Lewis. We love you. Let me look at my positions for a second. What we got going on? WPM, not working. Thank you, you bastard. What else do I have? Oh, yeah. Fizzler had the downgrade. FCX, GBXJ. All right, I have to answer. I finished through them. So we're almost finished here. Yeah, Lewis, I do hold bios. As I said, CPRX, Regan, IBB, and a little XBI. Yeah. That's it. SI. So listen, the main story continues to be this still. This SI, if it goes through a new low, coin once again. Fizzler had the downgrade. Let's see how that acted. Bounced nicely. Let's see how PDD acts. Actually, they brought up, this BEKE acted well. Marna had a $10 range from the high to low. It's now negative. It was up. What was it? Yeah, 184 is up $12 at one point. Coaches semis. Let's keep an eye on MU. Keep an eye on AIM at the 2 weaker ones. That's why they're on the bottom. I usually put the stronger stocks in the respective sectors on top. Apple, coach think it's going to what? 132. Wow, it's a big one, huh? You know what? I wouldn't argue that with Apple because I've seen the market skyrocket without Apple, the same that the market bounced recently when Tesla went down. So I wouldn't argue that, coach. You know what I mean? It is what it is. What else are we on here? Share screen, my screen. Before we leave, I'm going to share what the wise guys are doing. Moss, CF, nothing, ABNB, going to go lower. Airbnb, they wanted to do it too. General Motors now, no play. Nougat, it's on my radar. I'm going to buy the Nougat. I'm going to buy the Nougat around 30. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to lie. Why would I lie? WPM, hanging in there. Freeport, okay. Alcoa, how you doing? It's over. Don't like it. Lithium, I had this LAC overnight. What's that? Covered at 23.90. 24.08, okay. Roku, Nougat. All right, let's go. Oxy, EOG, Golden, the big daddy. All right, the frozen rope is broken on Golden. Fast, no good. JP Morgan, a heavily shorted stock, as Gerard pointed out. So let's close it off. See, I started slowly. It's time to get into a rhythm. It is Monday, by the way. No excuse, but come on. Coke. Let's look at the wise guys do right here. X bearish, Tesla calls, Exxon puts, Manu puts. Please, that's not good though. Manu bearish. You know what I mean? Crowded trade, crowded short. It'll take a while. Busy week of earnings. There you go. I'll do this. Copy. I'll go boom. TradeGATEHub. Post the earnings list. Go back to the wise guys. Again, as Manu goes higher. As mentioned before, it looks to be an attempt to rotate out of cyclicals and industrials. Hence, the right side of my screen here, cyclicals and industrials, Disney, Home Depot, Cat, DuPont. You get the picture. Cyclicals right here, industrials, 6. And then the point is, attempt because the buy side's not aggressive. Tesla weeklies, so they want a Tesla squeeze. XLI puts, they're short 3,000 XLI puts. So somebody bet at 300,000 XLI, betting that the Dow or the industrials go. All right, HYG bearish too. So MU bearish. All right, so we're right on the money there. It doesn't mean it works, but Array, they're buying calls. Array, they're buying calls in April. That's what I want to see. A stock like Array that we're in, no surprise, and it shouldn't be a surprise because it's a freaking winner. Array right here. Here's the chart. Acting, I don't know, I'm acting very well. It's a solar, to that degree. And then I see the other solars. BE is another one I have my interest in to buy right here too. BE and Array. But Array, after a nice run, you want to see this going back in some edification, or how much is it? It's 200,000 calls, but I want to see a guy go into April. You know what I mean? Guy saying, all right, I might pull back a little bit, but in April, maybe hopefully January, things going higher. I'd like to see more calls go up, but that's an indication of what I like to see, a good price action. All right, beyond bearish, put calls nowhere. PDSG, nothing. BABA, bullish, CWH had news. That's it. Let's go here. TradeGATEHub, any other questions? I thought Uber could be a good play after earnings, but it's flat. Well, you know what? Let's look. Lewis has a question on Uber, and I get it. Lyft was one that I had trouble in for a while. Lyft, here's the chart on Lyft. You know what I mean, Lewis? It's just, I know why you have your eye on it, but it's going to take more of a binary situation to propel this above to where it was, maybe even a squeeze. The squeeze is over on Uber. I'm not going to lie. This was the volume it took out. It did, it does this volume and then it dies. So if you're looking for a squeeze, that's not happening. So you're gonna have to either look for news, some crude to keep going down. Hopefully, it doesn't seem to be helping it today. But I get it. There are better trades, but I understand why you're asking, Lewis. I get it. It's on my screen too, but I'm gonna have to pass that over. What else is going on in my Twitter feed? Usually a Lewis good question. All right, stocks like this rose above previous day's high. What else? Nothing interesting here. This guy's good. This swing trade buy. Okay. Amazon bullish. It opened positive. It's still positive. Let's keep our eye on it. Yields. Let's look at yields. Naturally, UUP. Steel name seeing some put action. All right. So maybe I have to watch my BHP. X. No, that's a hedge. Who would be? This is all these puts on X and STLD are hedges. That's a hedge. That's a hedge. I know that's a hedge. BHP might even add to this person. Squeeze them. All right. So I'll leave it at that. As I said, it's Monday. There's a lot of besides the video, there's a lot of the data to take in. Please go back and watch the YouTube channel. But the reason why I want everybody to go back always is it's data that actually trickles, or it's almost dynamic throughout the week. It's not just boom, here's the data today. Let's turn the page. Boom, here's tomorrow's data. No, sentiment it's like a feeling. Sentiment is not just it's like a feeling. It washes out. You know what I mean? That's why there aren't all these just empirical moves about data about the market. A lot of it is feel and sentiment as well. It's not all. That's why I'm here. You know what I mean? Or else I'd just be a statistic. So go back and look at the data. Thank you for tuning in. Always have a plan. See you a little bit after lunch, and thank you for participating. There's always going to be something going on naturally, but especially going into this, the beginning of the month is about to. Let's look at the window dressing at the end of the month here, which is Thursday. So always something going on. Please participate in the room, and we'll see you a little bit later. Cheers, and thanks for tuning in.